Recently, I had to work on VFX for Unity that includes a distortion effect. One of the problems I faced is that this effect has implementation specifics for the different renderer pipelines. In this video, I'll show my implementation of the distortion effect, several of its variations, and explain how to make it work in URP, HDRP and Built-In. I'll start with the basic implementation of this effect in URP. It's pretty simple, all you need is to add noise to the UV coordinates of scene color. For the noise, I use a texture and animate its offset over time. Then I'll add that offset to the screen position. Now I'll create a test object in my scene and use the new shader as its material. Don't forget to disable shadow casting for that object. Everything works great, the shader creates a wavy distortion effect. If you want it to look like heat distortion, it's better to use a grainy noise texture. If you want to achieve a ripple effect, you'll need to add a bit more to the shader. I'll add a blurred circle at the specific object's coordinate and increase its size over time. Multiplying the result by tau and passing it through a sine node gives me a ripple effect, which I then multiply by the noise I used at the very beginning. As a result, we get an effect like this. Now let's talk about problems in different render pipelines. When working in URP, make sure the opaque texture option is enabled in your settings. Without it, this effect won't work. Now I opened my scene in HDRP, and as you can see, our object is too bright. That's because the shader doesn't account for exposure. This is easy to fix by using the HD scene color node instead of the scene color and enable the exposure parameter in it. As you can see, now everything looks exactly the same as in URP. Now I opened my scene in Built-In, and as you can see, our effect doesn't work at all. That's because in Built-In the scene color node isn't implemented, it simply returns black. To deal with this problem, we have to use a workaround. Send the camera image into the shader using a renderer texture. Here's how it will work. Create a new camera and place it inside our main camera. Create a render texture with the same resolution as the camera and assign it as the target texture of the new camera. Place your object on a separate layer. Only the main camera should see that layer. Then pass that same render texture to our shader and use it instead of the scene color node. As you can see, now everything works, and because the second camera is nested inside the main one, we can rotate the image. That's all I wanted to cover in this video. If you have any questions about the distortion effect, be sure to ask them in the comments, and enjoy creating!